Now we're going to take a look at restrictions. To navigate to restrictions, you will click Point of Sale, Maintenance, and then the Restrictions module. Within the Restrictions module, we have 4 tabs: Item Sale Limits, Sale Restrictions, Disclaimers, and Negative Checks. Starting with the first, Item Sale Limits, it's kind of self-explanatory. This is where you can view all of your current item sale limits or create new ones. An item sale limit is exactly how it sounds. It is a limit to how much an item can be sold during a single transaction. To add a new one, in the top right, we'll click Add New, and that will take us to the Create Item Sale Limit page. At the top, it is requesting the name of the sale limit, and beneath that, we have the item limit itself. So for this example, we're going to set up a pretty standard limit by most cigarette manufacturers. We're going to create an item limit of 50 and include parent product. We're going to change this to yes. Include parent product is for items that are parent and child linked. If we are putting the child item into this limit, this button will inform the system to also restrict the parent items for the correct quantity. An example would be a pack of cigarettes. 10 of those would equal up to a single carton. A standard sale limit for cigarettes is up to 5 cartons. Or, in this scenario, 50 packs. Sale limit message. This allows us to define what is displayed on the receipt when this sale limit is enacted during a transaction. Match all items. This allows us to match all of the sale limit quantities for all of the items within the filter. And then up on the top right, we have Manage Assignment. This is where we actually are allowed to select the locations this limit is going to be selected for. So by default, we can do it for all locations, or we could do it by a specific location or location groups. For this scenario, we're going to select by locations and then click the gray Manage button. You'll get a pop-up with a list of all of your stores, and you'll just highlight the stores that are going to receive the limit, move them over with the green button here, and then click Apply at the bottom right. After you do that, you will see the store that is selected right underneath the Manage button. Sale limit filters. If we click the green Add Item Type, we get this pop-up with a drop-down list of all of the different filter types that we can select from, whether that is product, category, department, department group, manufacturer, brand, tags, or manufacturer code. For this example, we're going to select manufacturer code and then add that type. When we add that type, we can see this gray button, Add Manufacturer Code, and we're going to click that, and we can see that there is an additional editable field that shows up. This is where we are going to actually add our 6-digit manufacturer code. So for example, this is a standard manufacturer code for Marlboro. When the system detects these first 6 digits are scanned into a transaction, the system will know to look at this item sale limit and enact that sale limit. Once we have added all of that, we click one of our 3 save buttons on the top right, and now we have an item sale limit. Now the next tab over will be Sale Restrictions. Under the Sales Restrictions tab, this is where we will see a list of all of our current sale restrictions, and also where we can create new sale restrictions. Sale restrictions are a way to limit the sale of products to a specific day and time. To create one, we're going to Add New, and that will take us to the Create Sale Restriction page. At the top, it's requesting the name of the sale restriction. And then beneath that, we have the restriction schedules. Green is going to denote that the item can be sold on that day during the time period you have selected, whereas red denotes that the item cannot be sold during that time. So as an example, there are some states that do not allow the sale of liquor on Sundays. Any product added to this restriction would not be allowed to be sold on Sundays. Moving over to the right, we have our Manage Assignment. By default, it is selected for all locations, or we can click on the drop-down, select specific locations or by locations, click the Manage button, and then select from our list of locations that this restriction will be applied to. Next is Sale Restriction Filters. We are going to click the green Add Item Type, which will bring a pop-up with a drop-down to select either product, category, department, department group, manufacturer, brand, or tags. For this example, we are going to select Department and click the green Add Type. When we do that, we can see this blue line appear here with a gray Manage button. Once we click that, it will bring another pop-up with a list of all of our departments that we have set up. For this example, we are going to select this one, click the green button to move it to our selected list, and then click the green Apply button. Once we have all of these filled out, we can click one of the 3 Save buttons at the top right, and we have our sale restrictions. With this specific restriction, any item within the department that we have selected would not be allowed to be sold on Sundays. Next is the Disclaimers tab. Under the Disclaimers tab, we will have a list of all of our active disclaimers, and this is also where we go to create disclaimers. We will do so by clicking Add New on the top right, and that will take us to the Create Disclaimer page. Now, a disclaimer is pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be information that is displayed on the receipt whenever a product from the department with this disclaimer assigned to it is purchased. At the top of that screen, we have the name of the disclaimer, and beneath that, we have the text that will be displayed on the actual receipt. Lastly, beneath that, we have Require Customer Acknowledgement. Toggling this to Yes will print a little signature line on the bottom of the receipt for the customer to sign to show that they acknowledged the disclaimer. After all of that has been filled out, we will click one of the 3 Save buttons on the top right, and then we can see that we have a disclaimer. Lastly, we have negative checks. So negative checks are a tool that will allow us to either whitelist or blacklist specific customers within the database from either being able to use checks at our retail locations or not be able to use checks at our retail locations. To create one, you click Add New on the top right, select the customer within the database that is having this set up for, and then at the top we have an area for the customer key. Most companies use the customer's license number. However, this is to be a unique number assigned by you for the customer. Beneath that, there is a notes section for you to define any specific notes regarding this customer and the reason they are having this negative check created for them. And then we have this button for Accept Checks from Customer. This allows us to dictate whether or not we accept checks from this customer that we have selected or not. Lastly, beneath that we have two tabs, one for customer details, and then one for the bank details. The customer details, pretty self-explanatory. This is where we enter the customer's information, whether that be the first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, and phone number. And then the bank details. So information from a check, you would put into here. Then once you have all of that information filled out, you would click one of the three Save buttons on the top right of the screen. And that has been the restrictions module within the FasTrax Control Center.